Hey guys, it's Annie Margaret Yang. Today I'm making this video because I had a few people reach out to me privately in the last 2 weeks asking me if I've been doing okay because they haven't seen me upload a YouTube video in a very long time. And the last video that I did upload wasn't even financial related. It was a video from my piano recital. It's not fair to you guys for me to kind of just disappear, so I will explain what's been going on. I've been doing just fine. I started my company this year. It was a side hustle for the last 3 years, but I decided, it's not going to be a side hustle anymore. I'm actually going to form this into a company. And so I've been really dedicated to building this company, and it's been consuming a lot of my time. That's one reason, but it is still like a cop-out reason because if something is really important to you, like if making YouTube videos is really important to you, you would make time for it. That is one reason. I am busy, yes, but if even a busy person will find time to do things that they think are really important. Like this piano endeavor I'm trying to take on right now, it is so important to me that I spend about 1 to 2 hours a day practicing every single day, right? So I somehow managed to find time to practice piano, but I don't manage to find a time to make YouTube videos. So I kind of have to address that issue. The reason is because I've basically just lost my voice. I don't know what videos to make anymore. I don't know what I want to talk about. You know when you put a frog in like cold water and you just start boiling the water and then eventually the water is boiling and the frog doesn't even realize that? I kind of feel like that is happening to me. In terms of like how I spend, save, and manage my money, I feel like I am such a different person today, and the road to get to where I am now was so slow and gradual that now I look back, I'm like, yeah, a lot of that financial advice I used to share with you guys, I don't follow anymore. I actually feel like a little ashamed because while it felt so genuine and authentic back then, it's not genuine and authentic to me today. Almost all the advice that I tell you guys in the last, 3-4 years, I myself don't follow my old advice anymore. And I would feel like such a hypocrite to continue making financial videos that it's not gonna help anyone, right? And no one's gonna be able to relate. And I'm not saying like I'm such a spendthrift, but I just wanted to give you a few examples. Like I actually wrote all of this down and I have notes for you guys today. But it's just been such a slow and gradual shift. Maybe you can judge me, maybe you won't. But so I spoke to one of my viewers, Richard Chen, and I told him a little bit about this. And he said I should just be forthright and honest with everyone. And then I was like wondering for a few months what I should do. And finally, today, I'll be forthright and honest with you. When I first started making a little bit more money, the things that I would spend my money on were mainly related to my health. All the things that I kind of just pushed off as much as possible, such as finding a good primary care doctor because I didn't have any health insurance. All the things related to my health that I just pushed off, I was like, you know what? I have the money in my budget right now to take care of my health more proactively instead of waiting for bad things to happen to my body. Let me do something with this money. The first thing I started was I got a primary care doctor subscription. So now I don't use health insurance to see my doctor. I pay for a private doctor on a monthly basis, $75 a month, just so that I can text her and call her whenever I need to do that and get full access to her whenever. So that way I don't have to go into her office and ask her questions in person. For example, last month I got a hand infection because I accidentally cut my hand when I was cooking in the kitchen. It got infected and I don't have to go in person to see her and ask her what should I do. Rather, I just took a picture with my phone and then I texted her, what should I do with my hand? So it saved me a lot of time and it just is more intimate because my primary care doctor really knows a lot more about my history and would be better at diagnosing any health problems I have. So that's the first thing I did. The second thing I did is, a lot of you guys know, is I found the best dentist I could possibly find, and it also ended up being a very expensive dentist. But he fixed a lot of my teeth issues, so now I don't have any teeth issues at all. That dentist passed away last year, so now I have a new dentist. When I went hunting for a new dentist, I called around 30 offices in New York City. And the dentist that I finally decided to go with also happened to be among the top 5 most expensive dentists. After I started making more money, I was just I don't skimp on my health. I'm going to spend the most money that I can, whatever it takes, to get the best healthcare and dental care that I can afford. So that applies to anything. It doesn't have to be just my teeth. Anything related to my health, I will not skimp on that. So it started with that, and that's reasonable. I think anybody making more money is also going to do the same as me. They're not going to skim on their health. That's reasonable. The second thing is, on the way to me making more money, that also involved improving myself in many different ways. And the first thing that I did was I hired a vocal coach to teach me how to speak more articulately. Because I was making these YouTube videos, in the last few years, and I just didn't like the way that my voice sounded. There was something about my voice that just really annoyed me, and I couldn't pinpoint what it was. So I hired a coach to teach me what it was about the way I was speaking that I just didn't like. And she was able to point it out, and we fixed the issues. That was great. The next thing I did after that, though, was I hired an image consultant because I looked at myself in my videos. I just really don't like the way I look in my videos. There's something about like a certain color that I was wearing that just didn't make my skin glow. So then I paid an image consultant $3,000 to tell me what kind of clothes would look good on me. She told me exactly the kind of colors that would look good on me. I'm gonna go get it right now. Hold on, let me show you. So she told me that these colors would all look great on my skin. And so for this kind of service itself is about $350. So the other rest that made up the $3,000 that I had paid her was for private consultation. I would buy clothes from stores, or I would try them on, and then I would take pictures of myself and I would send them to her, asking her for her opinion on whether something looked good on me or not, and ask her why. Was it because of a specific element on the clothes, And she also had to explain to me that certain clothes would have looked nice if they just had some tailoring. For example, a collar would look much nicer on me if it landed here, or a shirt would look much nicer if the sleeve ended here. So that way, everything that I wear looks totally effortless. But the fact is, all of my clothes are tailored, and it just looks so nice on me because proportional to my height and the other aspects of my body, the vertical proportion of my clothes to my body is just at the perfect point, right? So I paid her that much money to do that. And then, of course, because I have to tailor my clothes, I no longer tailor my own clothes because to do a whole wardrobe, I don't have time to do that. So I have this tailor that I go to all the time to do my clothes, and that's added up to a few $100s already for that kind of professional service. Then after I got the wardrobe fixed up, I was like, okay, well, another thing I could improve is my makeup. I could never get my makeup right. I would watch YouTube videos of other girls doing their makeup and watch these tutorials, and it would just never come out looking nice on me. So then I paid a professional makeup artist to teach me how to do makeup on my face personally, so that I can enhance the features that made me look beautiful. So I paid her about $500 to do that. And then after that, I was like, well, I guess the only thing left physically to me is my hair. I don't know, it just looked really dull. It didn't look interesting. And I was like, you know what? I've talked about in the past about cutting my own hair. I can afford to make my hair look nice. Let me go perm it. I spent about $430 perming my hair twice a year. So, about $850 a year just on making my hair look like this. It all adds up, right? I've been spending a lot of money on my appearance, partially because I want to, but partially also because my work doesn't really require me to, but I feel like to make videos to a certain standard, I also have to have a certain standard for my appearance. I make videos outside of this YouTube channel on how to buy a house as a first-time home buyer for a company. And initially, the company didn't tell me what these videos were being used for. And later, I had found out that big companies like Rocket Mortgage and Quicken Loans were using these videos on their website to go with their blog posts. And I'm just thinking, wow, big corporations like Rocket Mortgage and Quicken Loans with my face on it. So all of a sudden, I felt, quite the pressure to have to work on this appearance that you're seeing here. I mean, that's the physical appearance. I think the last thing is I have to smell nice. Anytime I want to go out and go into a meeting, I feel like I have to leave a very good first impression. And one of the final touches I feel like I have to do is the fragrance, along with my nails, which I haven't been painting. Just those two final touches, and I feel like I've got the appearance thing down. But, I've spent several $1,000s to make myself look better. Partially it's work, partially it's not. And then the last thing that just makes me feel like I'm losing my voice, because I just feel like I'm so different now, is I started taking up piano last year. It's been 12 months at this point since I've started taking up piano. I started taking piano because I thought to myself, I have some career success now. What would be sad is if I have career success for only myself and not for my husband as well. And I would like to also see the people that I love succeed in their own careers too. And my husband is studying to be an anthropology professor, but one of the things that he's really passionate about is he's also an opera singer. And I always want him to pursue opera singing as a potential career. And I thought to myself, one of the ways I want to be fully supportive of my husband is I would like to take up piano so that I could accompany him for any of the songs that he would like to perform. And if he ever needed to practice with a live pianist, I'm available. So that was the initial reason why I took up piano. But as I got more and more into piano, I started taking piano for myself. So I had hired a teacher for $75 an hour. She wasn't working out. She was showing up late, very flaky. And then I ended up somehow landing a teacher for $95 an hour. And I just had no idea just how reputable and quite famous in the area that she was. Somebody that I know through work had introduced me to her. I don't know this person very well, the person who introduced me to her, by the way. I had written an email to him hey, I am looking for a piano teacher. I'm very committed and I would like someone who can make me a professional pianist in just 5 years and I'll do all the practice that's asked of me. And he introduced me to this local teacher who apparently is extremely well known. And when she called me to vet me, she was like, I'll take you on for a couple lessons and then I'll see if I want to drop you. As if she doesn't need students. I'll see if I want to drop you. And then I was like, okay, she sounds really full of herself, but okay. And I showed up at the first lesson, clearly total beginner. And then she's like, okay, here's your homework. Come back next week. And by the way, we're only doing this for a couple lessons. And then I was like, okay. I came back the next week and she asked me what I did for my homework. And then I showed her a list and how much time I practiced on each thing that she wanted me to practice. And then she's like, oh, I'm really impressed. Not many students do that. And I had asked her already at the beginning of the lesson, should I buy a real piano? Is it okay if I practice on a keyboard? She's just like, we'll see. I was like, okay. But by the end of that second lesson, she's like, you need to buy a piano. I was like, okay, what piano do you want me to buy? she recommended a Yamaha U1. She was like, I recommend you get a grand piano, but if you're gonna get an upright piano, you need at least 48 inches in height. Ideally, you get the 52 inches in height. Me and my husband, we were looking up online that day, secondhand pianos, and they were about $5,000 to $6,000. And I was like, well, that's a reasonable purchase. But that weekend, we went to the piano store, and then in 30 seconds flat, no kidding, I walked out of the piano store with the $15,000 brand new piano purchase and a $14,000 personal loan. That totally shocked me. I went into that store and we were only going to do our research on what pianos we liked. But the moment that the salesperson showed me this piano, so this is the same piano that she recommended that I get. Secondhand that we saw online is $5,000 to $6,000. But he showed me this piano and it's the silent version. You see, when I press on these keys, there's no sound coming out. And I immediately, when I saw that, I was like, this is my piano. I need to get this piano. If I don't get this piano, I'm not gonna be able to practice because I'm a busy working professional adult. I don't have time to practice in the middle of the day, and I'm not allowed to make noise after 9 p.m. I live in a condo building. So if I don't get a silent piano, I'm never gonna have time to practice. And it's true. I bought this piano and I practice at midnight. Sometimes I practice at 2 a.m. I'm always practicing at night. I never practice during the day. So if I didn't get the silent version, I wouldn't be practicing. That's my justification for spending $15,000 on a piano. But the guy was also like, because it's COVID time right now, we only have one in stock. If you want this piano, you have to be the first one to put a down payment on it. And I was like, oh, okay. What's the likelihood that somebody's gonna buy it in the next day or two? Because let me have some time to think about it. He's like, I don't know. We have 3 other stores. Any customer can walk into our 3 other stores and decide to buy it at any moment. I was like, oh, okay. And then he's like, and by the way, we have this actually in stock. We can ship it in 3 weeks. So we'll have it in your house in 3 weeks. If it's a piano that we don't have in stock, any other model, which we most likely don't, we'll have to order it. And we're having supply chain issues. It's going to take about 8 to 9 months for it to be delivered to your house. You know, it was either like spending $5,000, $6,000 on a secondhand piano that just isn't going to meet my needs, or a $15,000 silent version. Within 30 minutes of me walking into that store, I walked out with this piano. Regarding the personal loan thing, we sat down and then I was telling my husband, we have the money, we have the cash in our emergency fund. Why can't I just take the cash from our emergency fund and then just pay cash for our piano? And he was arguing with me. He was like, no, we could hold on to the cash for any emergency that we might possibly have. By the way, so the personal loan that I got was a 12-month 0% interest loan. So he was like, why would we put down $15,000 cash when we can get a personal loan and we can pay it over the next 12 months and we're paying the same amount? And it's true, So I got the loan and then I set up auto pay out of that same savings account. And every month, it debits about $1,100. This is the last month I'm making payments. After the 23rd of September, no more piano loan. I don't pay a single dime in interest or anything, but I feel like such a hypocrite because I tell people on my channel to not finance things. Even for 0% furniture loans, I tell people not to finance them because, it's not a wise decision for your money. And all of a sudden, I feel like a total hypocrite for doing things that I tell people that they shouldn't do with their money. And all of a sudden, after that moment, I had realized that a lot of the financial advice that we see on the internet and that I espouse to people on YouTube is actually for a very specific segment of the population. It is for either one, the low-income population living paycheck to paycheck, or also for the middle class population living paycheck to paycheck as well, but also having a little bit of disposable money to spend on nicer things in life. And I realized that the vast majority of personal finance strategies that you read about online is actually catered toward this specific demographic. People who make a lot more money aren't helped by this information at all. I help rich people. I do accounting for rich people. I watch how they spend their money. I look at what they do with their money in their business. Sometimes they share with me what they do in their personal life with their money. They have loans. They use loans as a way to help them make more money. They will take on car loans even when they can pay for their car outright. My own boss does. He got a $55,000 auto loan when he could have paid for the car outright with all the money that he had. I see a lot of rich people, this is how they manage their money. And you know what? Having loans doesn't hurt them at all. It doesn't, because you know what? These people make so much money, doesn't even matter. Versus if you're middle class and you do these loans, yeah, you're basically screwed unless you really manage your money very well. And so all of a sudden, I feel like I've lost my voice. And it didn't even just stop at this piano. My teacher, because she saw that I was really committed, she increased my lessons from being 1 hour to being 90 minutes a lesson. So in a year, I've calculated, I pay her $7,410 a year just for my piano lessons. $15,000 here, $7,400 for the lessons themselves, along with anytime she tells me to buy a book, I will buy it right away. I don't argue with her about well, it's not in my budget. Let me wait till I have more money so that I can buy these books. No, the moment she tells me to buy a book, I order it on Amazon that week as part of my homework. When I go travel to New York City, whether to visit my family or for a dentist appointment or something, I don't stop practicing just because I don't have a piano in my parents' house. I will pay for an hourly piano rental just so I could continue to practice piano in New York City. So I have to pay extra money for that. I think it's about $25 an hour. So $25 a day, every day that I'm in New York. And then any concert she tells me to go to. She told me that part of learning piano and getting really good at it isn't just playing, but listening to professionals live. So any concert she tells me she wants me to go to, I'm buying those tickets. This is a very expensive, and I've never spent this much money on something like this before. And then not only that, she told me that she wants me to perform piano in Italy next year. And she knows just how scared I get playing in front of people, especially she's gonna have me play piano in Italy. I feel like a total noob and an amateur at this. I don't feel like I should be there, especially playing with other musicians. She wants me to play chamber music with other musicians, and I just totally feel unqualified and unready. And she was like, well, what you could do is you'll do that next year, but this year, I want you to go to Italy so that you get a feel for the program and for the the atmosphere and see how things are like there for you. So then at least you know what the venue looks like and you won't be as scared. You'll feel more comfortable. So in August, I actually followed her advice and I went to Italy. Everything she tells me to do, I do it. I take her advice as if like I have to do this if I want to get really good. And that trip to Italy ended up costing me like $4,000. Basically, all the money I've spent related to piano, I'm probably about $26,000, $27,000 in at this point. And next year, the program that she wants me to go into is the Cremona Academy. Just the tuition and the room and board for that 3-week program is $4,700. So $4,700 plus another $1,000 for a round trip flight. And because the dinner is not included, only breakfast and lunch is included, I'm estimating another $500 for dinner over the course of 3 weeks. So this is gonna be like, maybe a little over $6,000 just for this thing that she wants me to participate in. So this, guys, is why I feel like I can't talk about money anymore. I can't. I feel like a hypocrite if I make videos on this is how you can save money on da-da-da-da-da. By the way, I have a book on 1,001 ways to save money. This is how you can budget your money. I have a friend and a business coach who tells me like I shouldn't be ashamed of this. She said, this is just like living proof that by following the own advice that I have followed and espoused for the last several years, like this is how far I've gotten. I make a lot more money. I have higher net worth than I did before. She said, this is just proof that your advice works. You should not be scared to share. But at the same time, I don't know. A large part of my identity was this ability to save a lot of money, and to not spend so much money. And I always thought to myself in my early 20s, like, Annie, one day when you're gonna make a lot more money, you're not gonna spend it all away. And it just hasn't turned out to be true. The kind of person at 20 years old that I thought I would be at 27 years old is just like totally unrecognizable. I don't recognize myself anymore. The kind of values that I thought I would be holding on to, I'm letting go of them. Like, the kind of programming. I grew up with this like triple R mentality. Reuse, reduce, recycle. Saving the environment is really important. So I would used to, of course, encourage you guys and do it myself as well to buy secondhand. I would go out of my way to drive 1 hour to buy secondhand item. And because I make so much money now, I'm like, whatever. I'm just gonna buy it on Amazon and they're gonna ship it to my house. I don't care for saving money because I'm not gonna waste 1 hour of my time driving somewhere, especially if the person's not gonna answer the door. That happened to me. I wanted to buy a secondhand table. I drove 1 hour to get there one way and I couldn't lift the table into my trunk. I wasn't strong enough to do that. And I told the seller, hey, can you come out of the house and help me move the table? Sorry, it's COVID. I don't want to come out. I don't want to get COVID. And I said, well, I can't get in my car. I'm going to leave without the table. Bye. And I drove an hour back without the table. I wasted 2 hours of my life. I said, no more. I never bought secondhand ever again from anyone local. I try to at least give stuff away for free around my house when I declutter. And because, at least I don't want to throw it in the trash. It's still a perfectly good item. And 30 people are asking me, is this available? Is this available? And then I set up appointments. These people don't show up. It's free. And they don't show up. And I think to myself, Jesus Christ, what a waste of my time. I could be using my time for other things, like, I don't know, making more money. So what do I do now? I don't post things up online to give away for free. I throw that stuff in the trash. And I'm pretty proud of it. I don't care about reuse, reduce, recycle. How about at least clothes? And I thought to myself, okay, at least clothes, you can drop your clothes off in like clothing donation bin. I did that last Sunday. The closest clothing donation bin from my house is a 15-minute drive, and it's in like this dump. It's so stinky where this clothing donation box is. I put my clothes in the bin. I walked out smelling like trash. I got in the car, then I got out of my car, and I was like, whoa, do I smell like that? And now I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to do this either. I don't want to waste 15 minutes of my life one way and then 15 minutes back, then forcing myself to shower because I smell like trash. I'm not going to do that. Actually, I think I'll also just throw my clothes in the trash as well. I'm not going to go out of my way to donate clothes when it's such an inconvenience for me. I don't know. This value that I thought was so important to me, apparently I'm dropping it just like this. I don't care anymore. What kind of videos am I going to make in the future? Definitely not this. But more important in my life now is building my company. I'm trying to build this company that is going to scale exponentially. And I'm going to build the company in a way where I can walk away from it. So it's not going to be like another job for me. I'm going to build a company where I can teach everyone as a system what they can do. And then I can walk away from the company knowing everything's okay. So that's the kind of system that I'm building. That's what I'm interested in right now. It's kind of like, it's nice because I make money in my sleep. Clients kind of just come and they say, I want this service and we can offer this service. And it just makes me even more money without me having to do a ton of extra work, because I have 2 employees right now to help me do the actual work, whereas I am the one managing and creating the system so that I can walk away someday. I just feel like all the financial advice that I used to follow, I can't do it anymore, because that kind of advice is good for somebody who is on a fixed income. When I say fixed income, is somebody working a job for somebody else. Versus me, I don't have a limit to my income, because the amount of money that I'm limited to making is only limited to the amount of people who want my service, right? And there's a lot of people who want the service that I offer. There is no limit. If I want to take more clients, it's just a matter of hiring more employees to repeat the same system that I have created. So it's different when you have no limit in terms of the amount of money that you can make. You end up having a big shift in your mindset and your philosophy for the money. So anyway, this video is probably very long, and you probably didn't watch till the very end because I just kept rambling. I already actually have 4 to 5 YouTube videos already edited. I just never published them because I felt so ashamed and like so out of touch. And I feel like none of you guys will ever be able to relate to me ever again anyway. And the kind of videos that I'm probably going to make in the future, which is more about like how to build a company, I know some people would be interested in it, but I feel like I'm just talking to such a small segment of the population. Like most people are interested in more like how to get more for the money that they already earn from their job. Very few people in the population. So I feel like the circle just gets smaller and smaller. Very few people in the population are actually interested in like entrepreneurship and building their own company. And an even smaller segment of this population that I'm going to be talking to is interested in scaling their company. There are businesses out there, so many small businesses out there that are interested in like keeping the same size as they are. Like they're happy, the business earns enough money for their lifestyle. They have the freedom to do certain things in their life. They have balance in their life. They don't want to grow their company, because growing the company also involves hiring more people. Hiring more people means you will be managing more people, and managing people can be a total nightmare. So these people, there's a lot of small business owners who just want to keep the company the same size as it is, and that's okay. But the kinds of things that I'm interested in is like scaling the company up and growing it exponentially, finding ways to run it more efficiently. So I feel like even out of this pool of people, I'm going to be talking to like this small pool of people, especially like if it's someone, a small business owner making at least $2 million a year, because that's, you know, a good client for me. A good client for me is someone who makes at least $2 million a year that can afford the kind of services that I'm offering. And so a small business owner bringing in that much money revenue-wise, they make up like what? Like less than 5% of the general population in the United States? Who am I talking to? Anyway, I'll see you in the future. Bye.